The Red Sox will be competitive in 2024, or at least that's what I keep telling myself. What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to Red Seat Radio. My name is Corbin, and ladies and gentlemen, welcome to opening day. The Boston Red Sox play a baseball game tonight, and it's been a long, dark, cold winter for Red Sox fans. However, with a new season comes some hope, and we can finally start talking about actual baseball again, as opposed to rumors or some dumb thing FSG said today. And as an eternal Red Sox optimist, to some of your guys' chagrin, I'm going to try and give you guys some optimism going into the 2024 season and why the Red Sox could be competitive in 2024. So what we are going to do today is we're going to break this down. We're going to talk about why I think this team could compete this season and shock the world. But before we get into that, just a reminder, we are going to be live tonight on this channel. We're starting at 8:30 p.m. Eastern time for members, and then for everyone, we are going to be live at 10 p.m. Eastern time. We're going to be watching the Red Sox opening day game together, talking about the season, just having a grand old time, celebrating the start of baseball coming back. Plus, we're also doing some giveaways for 10,000 subscribers. This is a live stream you are not going to want to miss. So once again, members, tonight, 8:30 p.m. Eastern time, everyone at 10 p.m. Eastern time on this channel. Thank you all very much for clicking on this one. Let's get into it. Before we get those comments that I know are coming, no, I'm not an idiot. No, I'm not unrealistic. I understand that the most statistical likely outcome of this 2024 season isn't going to be pretty, right? Everything on paper looks like the Red Sox just don't have enough talent to actually compete in this division or in this league in general. But right now it's 0-0, right? And crazy things in baseball happen all the time, and it's just not who I am to go into a season expecting this team to be awful. So instead, we're going to break down why the Red Sox could be competitive in 2024. And we're going to start with my first point here, and that is that the Red Sox defense is going to be a whole lot better than it was last year. Going into 2023, you had a defensive makeup where you had Kike Hernandez, who'd never been a full-time shortstop in his life, as your everyday shortstop. You had Masataka Yoshida in left field. You didn't know what you were going to get from him. Turns out it wasn't very good defense. You had Tristan Casas in his first season at major league level, playing first base at the major league level for the first time, and it just did not go well, right? The Red Sox were a historically bad defense going into 2023, and it ended up being a historically bad defense overall throughout the season. It cost them probably quite a few games, even if they weren't actual errors. There were missed throws to cutoffs, there were dumb plays made, a lot of mental mistakes, and going into 2024, that's a whole lot different. For starters, you've got a fully healthy Trevor Story. Trevor Story is one of the best defensive shortstops in the entire sport. Having him just alone at the shortstop position for the last, 20 games of the season last year completely changed the makeup of your team. It also helped Rafael Devers. Statistically, Rafael Devers was just a slightly below league average defensive third baseman when he was with Trevor Story, as opposed to the worst or the second to worst defensive third baseman in all of Major League Baseball without him, right? Trevor Story is not only going to impact the game as such a good shortstop defensively, but he's also going to make the people around him slightly better. Then you add in the fact that, say, Don Rafaela made the Boston Red Sox to start the 2024 season. Whatever he gives you offensively is going to be a bonus because he's basically a Gold Glove waiting to happen. That alone will improve the Red Sox defense. You also have Tyler O'Neill fully healthy for the regular season, or mostly healthy. I don't know what his calf is up to, but either way, he's starting with the team. He's a multi-time Gold Glove winner, a dynamic player. You've got Wilyer Abreu, who has a really strong arm in right field and can make those plays. Jarren Duran looked a lot better defensively last year, and Tristan Casas has been really making some strides defensively. At the end of last season, we saw him put it together defensively at the major league level. This spring training, he looks a lot better than he did throughout the 2023 season. He looks more comfortable at first base, and I'm expecting him to, at the bare minimum, be a league average defender. And even a guy like Emmanuel Valdez worked really hard on his defense over the offseason. With Vaughn Grissom injured, he's going to play a big role for the Red Sox defensively, and we're going to have to see what that looks like. But so far this spring, it has looked a bit better. The Red Sox may not end up being being a stellar defensive team, but they're going to be much closer to the median, and that's going to help this team win some baseball games as opposed to watching them throw games away in the 7th, 8th, 9th inning with overthrows to first base or missed cutoffs or trying to gun a guy out at home, probably be going for the guy at second base. It's going to be an entirely new defensive team for the Boston Red Sox, and that in itself alone gives me some hope as to what this team could look like in 2024. The second reason is pretty simple, and I think it's because this offense could actually be really, really good. With where the Red Sox are starting right now, we've talked about it before, but this could be one of the deepest lineups in the entire sport. You've got your heavy hitters in Rafael Devers and Tristan Casas, your sort of go-to guys. Both of these players have the potential to be one of the best hitters in the entire sport. Rafael Devers pretty consistently has been a top 25 hitter in Major League Baseball ever since he came up. Tristan Casas in the second half last year was putting up offensive numbers that rivaled the likes of Ronald Acuna Jr., Matt Olson, and Shohei Ohtani. That's some really impressive company there, though both of them ceiling-wise have unlimited potential. Then you've got your sort of secondary players who could be really impactful as well. Trevor Story, who finally looks like a complete hitter again. For the past couple of years, he's really been struggling with one thing or another and really hasn't been able to put it together in Boston all that well. When you take a look outside of his production this spring, which was actually pretty impressive, but it's spring training numbers, he looked like a complete hitter again. He looked comfortable in the box, and he looked a lot like he did in Colorado. Now, obviously, he's got to prove that he could do that during the regular season in Boston, but to see that type of sort of confidence from Trevor Story in the box early on is a really, really encouraging sign. He's going to be a major factor as to whether or not this team succeeds, and I got a lot of optimism about who he could be. Jarren Duran, who is the Red Sox biggest spark plug this season, is healthy and ready to go, which is going to be massive. Masataka Yoshida had a full regular offseason to prepare himself for his second full regular season. He already has the experience of what it's going to take to perform throughout an entire season, and I expect him to overall be more consistent during the 2024 season. Then you've got your X factors, the guys you don't really know what you're going to get from, the sort of ifs in your lineup. In Tyler O'Neill, who's healthy for the first time in a while, what can he do and bring to the table? I think it could be an Adam Duvall type-esque season that he had in 2023, except Tyler O'Neill is faster and more athletic. He could be really impactful for the Sox. Ceddanne Rafaela looked productive this spring. What can he do at the major league level? Wilyer Abreu looked excellent last year. Can he continue it this year? Connor Wong has a bit of a new approach. This offense could be really explosive this year, and I really truly believe that if these ifs go right, this offense could carry this team into competition. Now, obviously they're ifs, right? They could go wrong, but we're sitting here, we're making an optimistic video. What if they all go right? We just sort of assume that these ifs will be negative, but what if they aren't? What if they are positive? And that's what I'm looking at with this Red Sox offense, because again, you put all of these pieces together, and 1 through 9, there's maybe a hole or two in this lineup, but overall, there's a lot of players on this team that can do a lot of damage offensively, and it could be really, really fun to watch. Then you have your pitching staff. Does it look good on paper right now? Absolutely not, but there is a lot of talent there. You look at the Red Sox bullpen, and I think bare minimum, this Red Sox bullpen is going to be solid with the potential to be really, really great. You injected a whole lot of youth into this bullpen this year in guys like Justin Slayton, Isaiah Campbell, and Greg Weissert, who are going to be in their first full season in the Red Sox bullpen. And you adding that to established veteran pitchers like Kenley Jansen, Chris Martin, even Josh Winkowski to some degree, who had a solid 2023 season. You look at this Red Sox bullpen, and there's a lot of reasons to be optimistic about it. I think it's deep. I think there's a lot of options in here. And I think with Andrew Bailey being the new pitching coach, there's a lot of room for optimism with this Red Sox pitching staff. He may be the most important aspect of this Red Sox pitching staff, because what he's done is so far this spring, and what we've heard is that he's having pitchers look at their arsenal in an entirely different way. And maybe all the Red Sox pitching staff really needed was a new outlook on their game. Now we get to the rotation, right? Which on paper, It really isn't what we wanted it to be going into the 2024 season, but once again, like the bullpen, there is a lot of talent here. Brayan Bello is one of the most talented young players in Major League Baseball. You look at his advanced statistics, and his closest comparison is Luis Castillo. If we could get Luis Castillo's type production this year from Brayan Bello, this is going to be a really good number one pitcher. Nick Pivetta probably shouldn't be in that number two spot, but he did look good towards the end of 2023. He's on a contract year in 2024. If he figured out how to be a decent pitcher at the back end of 23, you can bet he's trying to bring that into 24. Cutter Crawford's one of the most underrated pitchers in the entire sport right now and is poised for a big breakout year. And then you got Tanner Houck and Garrett Whitlock, who we've been begging them to take the next step for a pretty long period of time here. What if Andrew Bailey can get them to this next level? Again, is this pitching staff going to be stellar? Is it going to be even good? Probably not, right? Most realistically, this Red Sox pitching staff is going to be the bane of the Red Sox existence. But at the same time, too, it's not unrealistic to believe that this pitching staff, specifically this rotation, could get closer to the average than they were last year. If they could get closer to, I don't know, the 15th, 16th highest ranked pitching staff in the entire sport, then again, you are putting yourselves in an area where you can allow your offense to keep you in games and help you win games. Give this offense a chance. If they could do that, then yeah, I am optimistic about what this team could look like. I know that sounds absolutely absurd, but you take a look at everything and you're like, well, the bullpen probably going to be above average. If you could get your rotation to slightly below or right at average, then basically every other part of your team is an above average team, and that could end up working out pretty well. The final thing I want to point out here is this current team's mentality. Now, I know this sounds a bit ridiculous because for the most part, talent does beat out mentality, but sometimes it doesn't, right? Sometimes a team is just so mentally together that they will themselves past teams that they probably should have gotten beat by. We've seen the Red Sox do it themselves a couple of different times. And when you're looking at this team right now, from everything we have seen and heard this year about this team's mentality, they are a united front with a common goal, and that is to shock the world. There is nothing better than proving an entire country wrong, and that's exactly what they've set out to do. Multiple people who have viewed this clubhouse from an outside perspective have said that this is one of the most tight-knit groups they have ever seen. And over the course of a 162-game season, that's going to be incredibly important. You could have the most talented team in the world, but if you're not mentally and physically united in your common goal, sometimes things just fall apart. Look at what the San Diego Padres did last year. And if the Red Sox can do that, well, again, they might be able to just will themselves past some of their competition, and that could end up making this team competitive in 2024. I know it's a bit of a stretch, but we're doing an optimistic video here, so we got to be optimistic about just about everything. Look, I'm not going to sit here and tell you this team is destined for the postseason. I'm not even going to sit here and tell you this team is destined to have a good 2024 season in general, right? It could end up being an absolute disaster with everything that happened off the field over the offseason, but I do want to say that the baseball season is long. There's 162 games, and right now, everyone is even. Crazy things happen in baseball all the time. It's one of the beautiful parts of this sport. And who's to say the Red Sox can't do exactly that? Who's to say the Boston Red Sox can't go into 2024 and shock the world? Do a lot of things have to go right for this to happen? Absolutely. Are there a lot of ifs on this team right now? Hell yeah, there are a lot of ifs on this team right now. But at the same time, we've sort of been conditioned as Red Sox fans to just assume that these ifs are going to go the wrong way, and it doesn't necessarily mean that they will, right? There is a world in which most of these ifs do become a positive, and in that world, the Red Sox are a competitive baseball team, and that's what I'm going to try and believe in until we are proven wrong, because right now, the beautiful part of all of this is we're done predicting, right? Now it's time to actually analyze and react to what the Red Sox do on the actual diamond, and that's always a beautiful thing. My hope right now is that the Red Sox come into 2024 with that mentality we talked about, go out there with the talent that they have and shock everybody, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the 2024 regular season. Let me know what you think in the comment section down below. I'm sure a lot of you guys are on the complete opposite side, right? There's no way this team can compete. There's no way this team is competitive, and I get it. Let me know why you disagree in the comment section down below. If you agree with me, let me know why as well. And don't forget, we are going to be live tonight, 8:30 p.m. Eastern for members, 10 p.m. Eastern for everyone else. Thank you all very much for clicking on this one, and I will see you in the red seats.